Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Nature Folklore Sessions. It's 6th of February 2022. Well, thank you for joining me. It's our weekly time of exploring nature-centered folklore, connecting this to your favorites or within your favorite sanctuary space, and expressing all those inspired visions from your sanctuary through your poetry, writing, art, craft, performance, and problem solving. And this is part two of our Imbolc series. This is, I forget the title of it. So at the beginning, this is going to be the birthing of spring anyway. And we're going to explore all kinds of folklore and presences from the, hang on, I've got a, sorry, I got a tech issue going already, which is absolutely brilliant. Anyway, we're going to go from the eternal flame into the water, and I'm in deep hot water at the moment as something has just stopped working. Anyway, we got guests, wonderful guests today. We've got Connor Brown, and there he is there, and he's very much involved with Biddy's Day up in Kerry there, and we've also got Cliff Carr, who was popular with us before. He's bringing another lively song, this time for Imbolc. And we've got Grace Wells with a poem video that's already enchanted many of you. And hopefully tuning in, we got Connell Trainer, a regular poet that we have on the show. And who else we got? Oh, Mel Bridge. She's going to share something from her Bridget book, Sung Amongst the Stars. Try and get her picture up here. There's Mel there, and that's a book there. The Bridget book has Sun Amongst the Stars. And B. Smith's already here. She's in the background there. And how could we have an Imbolc session without B being present? Well, she's sort of coming and going, isn't she? There we go. As to say, we certainly got the heebie-jeebies going on here, and that's a lovely meme featuring B there. So we've got the superb poet B. Smith coming up, and as usual, these nature session folklore sessions, the videos, and the sanctuary support is all thanks to you kind, appreciated subscribers through Patreon, PayPal donations. So thank you very much for your continued support. As subscribers are often usually with us live today, or they'll join us later. So I'm trying to get things going here. This sorry, I've got to trying to get more pictures up. Trying to get the pictures up, and there's another video I got stuck with. Anyway, I better see which early birds are amongst us and say hello. We got Gary here, Gary Brannigan, flying visit today. It looks like a flying visit in and out. Birthday party time going on. We got Maura Barrett's here. Happy birthday celebrations. I gather that's for Gary. And Claire Roach is here. Wonderful to see you. Hale and Hart, John. Looking forward to seeing your broadcast. Claire's in Dublin today. So, and Terry Hart's stacks here. 15 chili. As I say, sorry, the stuff's going on and off. That's the tech issue I'm sort of battling with for a few minutes. Anyway, there's Terry from 15 Fahrenheit, Chile, Maryland. And over here, it's sunny, but very blustery cold wind as well over on there. We had some rain yesterday. Ireland had rain. It's first we had a lot of rain for a long time, but the sun has come back in. Penny Stevens is here, literally blowing in from the garden. Yeah, there's a lot of blowing going on. So even Lincolnshire is quite blustery. And although she says she's been looking forward to this. Oh, maybe not the wind, but this show. And we've got the lovely Ann Bowden here from Pennsylvania. Sherry Murphy. Good morning, everyone, from down East Maine. It's -2 there this morning, so I better be grateful for what we got here in Ireland. And Cliff Carr, good afternoon there. And we got some Cliff later on, as I say. That's it's going to be. He was very popular, wasn't he, with a song a few weeks ago? Something a bit different. Anyway, we got Cliff coming up, and I've just seen Catherine come in the background. I see a pair of glasses there. Hello, Catherine. I'll talk to you a bit later, but he got a lovely poem in coming on from him. And still people coming on here. We've got Sylvie Sanchez, the chap from France. Fabulous. And we're going very international today, which is always very, very welcome. Fantastic. And Davina's here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to Davina. Anyway, I think the thing I'll start off is, last Sunday, it was, to say, get some pictures. I was talking about the Bridget flame, and see if I can bring up some flame photo again. There we go, the eternal flame. But the focus of this Sunday is going to be more focused on really water, living water, and the earth bearing of water, which we certainly got quite a bit of yesterday. So we'll talk a bit about that. And so last Sunday, as I say, Bridget Flame, we're going to talk more about water. And the point of Imbolc was 8:37 p.m. on Thursday, last Thursday. That was the midpoint, the midpoint between the winter solstice and the vernal equinox coming up, and that's regarded as the exact point of Imbolc. Anyway, that's also the midpoint of the annual time of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the water bearer. Even though it's an air sign, the symbolism is the water bearer. And many of you be familiar with the Aquarius water symbol, such as this, of the water waves. And as I say, very peculiar because Aquarius is an air sign, and there we have the water waves actually in midair there. And this seems to appear in ancient art too. You go to Fornox, there we go. We have the, we should have the artwork. There's the artwork that appears in the Fornox. Very intriguing. I suppose it's not really clear what is there, but it seems so incredibly coincident as far as we look at the Aquarian sign. And there's me as a younger lad that's inside Fornox. And Fornox, if you didn't know, that's what it looks like from the outside. And then there's the symbolism also of the man pouring water on the lad. And that's quite a modern Aquarian symbol, really. And there's a couple more of him here. Look at that one. There's an Aquarian man pouring water. And then we have another one. So there we go. Eye candy for some, maybe. But before he came along, it was a woman that was pouring the water, and that was the Aquarian symbol for centuries, for years, I believe, for many years before the men came along. So we have these lovely pictures of women water bearers also. Oh, well, that's a real woman. In fact, Bee was there. That was at the Shannon Pot, where we got together one Imbolc a few years ago. A very frosty, cold Imbolc. We had a bit of a fire going there. Now, where I live, there's often, finish with that picture. Where I live here, where we live in Ireland, there's usually snow falling on St. Bridget's Day, at least on the hills and the low mountains. There has been a bit lately, but it's nothing like what we usually get. And it's one of the, but actually, it's overall been one of the mildest Bridget's days ever. It was really mild. I think it was 10, 11 centigrade on Bridget's Day, but it was very windy. We've had several days of wind here. But by the sidereal time point of Imbolc, a few days later, when there is snow here, it starts melting or starting to melt. And it's going down, when it melts, especially when it's on the hills, it goes down these geological swallow holes like this. And they're over the hills here with the limestone, and then the water goes down there. The water goes very deep and it goes underground. And when it's underground, that water will be picking up minerals, chelating them, and the minerals actually become completely part of the water, the ionic connection, all on its way underground. And the water then appears back onto the surface in the light through natural springs and the wells, something like this, which is very precious for us. This is a local one we got here that's near where I live. And this one's actually the Shannon Pot, I think. But anyway, we can include that as well because swallow holes feed that. I think there's 6 of them, and it keeps coming and going. There we go. So there we have the wells there now. Now, some water also bubbles up here in what we call turlows. Now, I'm kind of, I think these are more well pictures. That's at Glendalough, so I don't know. They got thrown in the, and that's one that was discovered only recently by the Great Lake in Glendalough. Anyway, we're told about turloughs. These are temporary lakes that appear in fields at low land levels during February. We just haven't had the rain or the snow this year for them, so they're not going to be as dramatic as this. Saturday was pretty good, but I think there's some rain coming in this week that might bring about these turloughs. So, and here, this one here is near Deer Park. I think it was near Deer Park because you get the cows sort of wandering around in the looking for the grazing in these turloughs as well. But after February, all this water, it does go away, and fertile meadows then grow. So this part of Imbolc time, around Island at least, there is water bearing and the whole waking up of the land. And the new natural spring birth is flowing everywhere. And I think to represent that, there we have the Wayside Well over in Kildare, which I prefer that to the Tully. The Tully Well is the main one that people go to, but this is by the Japanese gardens, kind of hidden on a path, lovely place to go. So that's very symbolic, I think, of the spring water flowing over the land. So this is this cold water initially. It goes into the soil, so it means that the soil and the land, it remains cool. So it's a little bit premature for gardening and crop farming. And a lot of people are talking now on Facebook and other social media. Can't wait to get those seeds in. Can't wait to get the plants in. It's now not the time for that, but it's certainly the time for carving. Lambing is going on. The lambs are certainly about, and it's the last of the goat kids being born right now as well. Now, for this time, really, I know it's easy now. You can go into a supermarket, get your avocados and some vegetables, and we sort of lost sense. If you go to a supermarket, I think we've lost sense of the cycle of eating and the food. But at this time, certainly when we were in the Hebrides, and that wasn't so easy to do, and our garden wasn't really up and running, this is a great time for foraging. And you can forage. There's all kinds of new shoots and trees on the land. And the foraging is becoming a growing trend again. For us, it was a kind of way of getting some fresh veggies, and we had to go for them. We were by a seashore, so we could forage the seashore as well. I was going to do a bit of foraging on this show, but I don't think I'm going to have time because we do have a lot of guests, but I will feature it next Sunday, what you can actually forage around here, at least for this time through February. But on the seashores, there's an abundance of the seaweed and also the shellfish. The limpets are, if you can kick them off, quite tasty. And it's also good for shore fishing because any fish, and even the shellfish you get at this time, because of the cold water, it's all at its best. It tastes its best, and it doesn't go off quickly. So it's pretty safe when you're foraging on the seashore at this time. Anyway, as you can imagine, I'm actually focusing on what's happening around here in the Northern Hemisphere. So excuse me if you're watching in from other places. Now, along with the folklore of the earth goddesses manifesting through the springs and the wells, there are other outlets of water bearing. I've got this picture up for some reason. That's the three goddesses there. That must have come up for some purpose that I've forgotten. But anyway, you talk about the water bearing underground water there, which is certainly, you have these locks under the hills here. And together, the intent is folklore visioning and celebrating the overall rites of spring birth. That's, I think, will be the main theme for that. But I'm going to actually break from that now for our first guest this year, because we have a couple of lads, and one of the lads pursues this. It's Biddy's Day. We've got Connor Brown from Kerry, who's been chatting to me about Biddy's Day that happens in the Reek district of Kerry. That's where he lives. And the Reeks is sort of northeast of the Ring of Kerry, and it's well west of Killarney there. And on Nature Folklore, we do explore the deeds. I have done in past editions. We've explored the deeds of the Galicians and the Geysers at Sawan. And then there were the Mummers, Straw Boys and Wren Boys around Yule and close to Christmas. And then the Wassailers, and the Ploughmundy boys, the Plough Boys during January as well. Now, the Biddy Players, that's what that picture is behind me, and there's another one of Biddy Players there. They still wear the straw helmets of the sort. They don't seem to cover their face with them, but they wear them to signify characters, I think. And then they wear these white clothes, you know, they're very much in the white, which fits in with the white of Imbolc and of Bridget there. And what they do, it is door-to-door performing and begging, just like the similar traditions, like the Geysers and the Mummers, Straw Boys. And there was, if you can see on that picture, do they have one there? They probably got one in the background somewhere. They actually go around with a large Bhride doll. They carry with them, and the idea of that taking it door to door. Yeah, I can see it in the picture. Look up closely there. And that doll there, they take with them, and it's to enchant the evil spirits away from each home that they visit. And if they miss visiting a home, that home can actually feel left out. Why did the biddies visit us? And they feel they could be cursed for the year because they didn't get a visitation from the biddies doll. So that's... Anyway, the Biddy's troop is regarded as being the spirit of Bridget itself, or Breeder, a Bridge, and the visiting is to bless protection on everybody's homes. Though, of course, in the older days, there was begging, you know, it was definitely a protection racket, you know. So, right, we got the doll, your house is protected, hand over the money. But surprisingly, with this Biddy tradition, it's actually led by a king. They actually have a king of the biddies, not a queen. So that's something unusual. Kerry tradition, as it's turned out, I suppose. But Kilorgan, which is the main town, small town for this, it's the most famous place now for the Biddy Players, for visitors to see the Biddy Players in action, and also for a Biddy parade. So you probably heard that British Day, St. Bridget's Day, is going to become a national holiday in Ireland from next year. And I can imagine what's going to happen. There's going to be a change very quickly. I'm starting to see it a bit this year. And I expect that the intimate cross and doll making that people have been doing in their homes will suddenly enlarge into decorating the homes. And I'm going to show some examples of that very soon. And I bet more towns will be having Biddy Players, Biddy troops, and street parades especially over the years. So it's competing with St. Patrick's Day, and it's going to be a holiday. Anyway, I'm going to have Connor Brown here. As I say, these are biddies, they go around performing. And he's got here with a video of an excerpt from his newly released poetry book. It's called A Very Kerry Year, and he's got a partner on it, Deshinta Brown. This is the Kerry Year book here. And as you see, it's self-explaining. It's actually being a fundraiser for cancer, because unfortunately, Connor wrote this as he was recovering it himself. And so here I've got more pictures, if I can bring them up. There we go. That's the cover there of the beautiful, isn't it beautiful? A lovely put together book. And that's how this page from the opening of it. And I think this is Jacinta here who's holding it up. It hasn't been confirmed, but I think that's it. I'm going to put up some information. That's it. That's where you get it. Strange. I'll put it up in the comments, the full link after the show. But if you want to quickly get that down, A Very Kerry Year, as I say, .company.site. So anyway, that's sort of the background to Connor Brown. He put together this wee video. He's not on live, and so it's down to me to find the video, put that on to share with you. It is in phone format, portrait, so I trust you'll still be able to get that. Here we go. Connor Brown with something from his Biddies book.
'Twas one night, 2 biddies, and I couldn't sleep. I tried drinking warm milk, I tried counting sheep. A straw hat was ready, all plaited and golden. My St. Bridget's cross, so perfectly woven. The boron lay quiet, it wanted a thumping. Our brush went unwielded, it needed a jumping. My birdog sat idle in Grandad's chair, with a raw turnip head and hay stalks for hair. All was now ready for tomorrow's parade. Turf torches to light, for when evening does fade, by its fiery blaze we'll march by the mill, crossing the stone bridge and up the steep hill. Prancing and dancing we'll holler and hoot, strumming and drumming we'll fiddle and toot. The people will cheer us as we go on our way, in awe of the biddies on St. Bridget's Day.
Thanks very much for that, Connor. A short burst from his book there from Connor Brown. And let's see, there's a few of you saying things here. There's Lama's up. He's in. Good morning to all from Tennessee, coming in from Facebook today. And are you saying that? Anne says, are you saying tellers are fed more from above than below? They come from below, and they just sort of pop up, and they're like little locks, and then they go down. And when they go down, all this new grazing comes up, and the fields have got the grazing. They can come up at other times of the year, but February is when they really seem to come up and give us the water. Certainly below where I live here, they've got that. Good morning from Tennessee is Lame, and we got Anne who's saying that. And Cliff Carr, he's on showers and 50 mile an hour, plus gusts on the shore of the Mersey. And Sharon Nichol is with us. And I thought this would get someone's attention. The men of Aquarius was noticed by Davina there, pouring the water, right? And Glenda here, Samina, who's actually spring greetings to watching cold doubling. We didn't get all the guests on today. There was a lot of guests came on today. And Glenda is one who's going to be on next week. And we got some wonderful presentation from her. So we can look forward to Glenda next week on Nature Folklore, which is fabulous. Some other comments. Cliff Carr just thought it was brilliant. Excellent. And Claire enjoyed that. Lovely, Connor, with beautiful pictures. Isn't it a beautiful book? I wish it was in landscape, but we were, it was great that we got to look at it, and I'll put the link on a bit later for that, which is fabulous. Anyway, back to Wells for a moment. I want to talk about All Is Well. I didn't get the logo, as I say. I was really rushing to put this together. I was putting pictures up a few seconds just before coming on with the show. So I think a lot of you are familiar with All Is Well. I hope so anyway. And the All Is Well, you find it on Facebook. It's a lovely group. Sarah Humble, she's the moderator of All Is Well. So search for it on Facebook, All Is Well. And I haven't really got many pictures sorted out. I wanted to for Sarah, but it didn't work out. Anyway, Sarah's been dedicating herself to a mission of bringing recognition and encouraging better local care and community involvement with the precious, natural, sacred and healing spring wells. We had Gary on earlier, who's rushing off to a birthday, and he has a lovely group of the ancient wells of Ireland as well. But you go to the All Is Well and you can see the work that Sarah and her friends and the volunteer and the well work they've done. There's a lot of other interesting stuff to do with water as well. And these sacred wells are what we know as holy wells, of course. Now, as well as being moderator of All Is Well group on Facebook, Sarah is one of the keepers of the Ferry Council of Ireland, their website, and she's also a coordinator of projects from other websites, but that's the main ones. I tried to get Sarah together for an interview. Very difficult because she's always on a project. She could be in Donegal one day and she's down in Kerry, and then she's on Loch Crew. So I haven't managed to get a proper interview with her yet. When we've had her on Nature Folklore, the reception has been so awful. We see the picture of the dog, but we don't actually hear Sarah as well. But we'll get her and talk to her about the spring wells and water missions and what she's doing and what she's been doing. And anyways, I think it's worth talking about the latest well project that she's been involved in. It's they call it the Tobin. And I wish Sarah was here to talk about the story. It's an absolutely fascinating story of the discovery of this well and what happened to it after it was discovered. And she couldn't find it. She was going along a lane. She'd heard about this well and she struggled to find it. It's close to the Loch Crew Visitor Centre, I believe. Might be on the same local road, Little Country Lane. I haven't established that yet. But I think it was 2018. She almost gave up looking for that well. And then this lad that lived on this country lane, the Mick Tobin, he appeared smiling, and he showed her a point in the ditch where the well was hidden. And this is it, the sort of ditch. It's been cleared up a little bit here. But Mick told tales of that all the locals used to get all their water from here. And that time it was very clear water. The well was very open and everybody would get their clear water from there daily. And that was their water supply. And Sarah discovered that the well is actually the source of the River Inny. And you can see that on the Ordnance Survey maps. And the River Inny itself in folklore is connected to stories of Ethna, the birth mother of Lul, daughter of Bala of the Fomorians in Tory Island. And there's a whole story of how she got from Tory Island and wooed with Cian in Donegal. Anyway, there are a River Inny's story. I'm not going to talk of that one this time. But anyway, since 2018, the local community started getting interested in this well from the ditch, and they started working to revive it. And then last year, they started to get some serious work done on it. And that's it. That's getting really into the serious stuff there. And I believe they found some ancient carved stones that were uncovered. They've had stonemasons carve some extra ones. And you can see the carved ones there. And I think those flat stones are ancient ones. And the one thing they discovered about this well is that it was a foot bathing well. When you go to the Tully well up in Kildare. That's quite a modern addition, but there's a place for foot bathing. And I know Monastraden Well has a foot bathing place as well. So a lot of these holy wells, they do have foot bathing facilities. And this is said to be for people that are arriving from a journey and people who are about to leave the well and go on a journey. And they've got another addition. This well's gone on so great. People coming in, helping out. They're actually adding a community garden. And you can see the digger there who's digging the space at the back. Obviously, the farmers donated a bit. There's going to be a community garden there. What a lovely addition to a holy well is add a community garden. You can bring the flowers along, but you can plant vegetables and seeds, bring plants, and everybody can come along and help themselves when they need it to some fresh vegetables from the holy well. Doesn't that bring it all together? Absolutely fantastic. I think I've got another one here. That's of the community garden bit as well. That's the flower part of it. Anyway, Surrey and All Is Well, they've got a lot more ambitious plans coming up. They got there's going to be books about how to look after a well, because her and the Fairy Council, they can't get around to every well in the country, so they're going to have printed books of maps of where the wells are and a book of instructions of what to do with the community around the well. And the sale of these books is going to help fund them to get the materials that are needed when they do work on these wells and pay care for them. And so out of this, they're hoping it will develop into some kind of well water appreciation festival. They hope to try out a one-day festival, and if it's successful, then that will kind of multiply out. But add to Sarah's work, so the tree groups. She's really fascinated in the tree groups and the initiative because of the close association between trees and sacred wells. There's always a rag tree by a well, for instance. And water goes up wells, you know, water goes up trees. Trees are tree management of water, and I'm going to be covering that in the tree season. So a forest gathering, Surrey and Fairy Council hope to arrange a forest gathering as well during this year. But on Nature Folklore, we got 5 Sunday tree season series coming up. It's going to start on the 27th of March. And the Trees in Water Folklore is going to be one of the episodes, and I hope we'll get Sarah along for that to give an update on what she's doing, either live on that afternoon or pre-recorded. But as I say, check out the All Is Well group, search for it on Facebook, and catch up with Sarah. And there's plenty of photos, more photos than I've showed you, for what they call the Toba Tobin, because he showed where it was by Loch Crew. Now, let's get on to our next guest. Let's see, there are any comments here. Glenda is here. I think I have to get that book for the 3 Kerry-born children. Beautiful. We'll get the proper link up for that, Glenda, after the show. Now, a few weeks ago, during our divination series, you enjoyed a song by Cliff Carr. And we got Cliff back. He's watching here, but we got a video. And he's got another song. And, of course, it has to be an Imbolc song, doesn't it? And I thought he looked quite a bit like David. He sounded quite a bit like David Bowie in the last one, I thought. And but this one, he sounds less like David Bowie. I think this is more. First thing, it's so jolly, but to me, it reminded me of Paul Weller when he was with the Jam. It's a very lively one. So anyway, the song is Imbolc, Imbolc, and I'm going to try and get the video. And here's Cliff Carr. And to wake everybody up. It's a very jolly one. Imbolc, Imbolc. Here we go. I'm going to change I've got to change some background for this. Excuse me for the poor intermission, because I know that I didn't produce the video properly. But here we go.
Return of light and king, the darkness now sowing the seeds of life. Imbolc, and time is moving on. The circles and the avenues await this spring's dawn song. The cove will witness the wool take leave and the chaos of the storm. And the chase will be nearing, and my year and the day will be one. Imbolc, the energies from this place. We have learned some of the secrets from the energies that we've raised. The man they call the barber surgeon, the man who put a name to stone. The sacred peace and faith for him became his end, his tomb. Imbolc, the shadow seeks one's love. 111 reasons for the sun to rise we cannot touch. We raise our hands towards the light as it rises we can see. And I thank you for the inspiration, for the hour runs freely. Imbolc, return of light and king. The darkness now receding, making way for new beginnings. Say farewell to the dark and welcome back the light. Imbolc, the spring is returning, once again sowing the seeds of life.
Oh, Cliff Khan, I disappeared as well. Yeah, sorry I didn't wrap any photos around that this time. It was playing by a bit of an interlude there. And one thing I noticed with Cliff there, and there's been some chat about that, and I say Imbolc sometimes, but the B is not pronounced actually. And if you're actually saying it, it's Imbolc. It's Imbolc, which is to do with the milk and the birth, and even has a connection with eggs as well. So it's Imbolc is what I should be saying in the pronunciation. Or Imbolc, it's a G instead of a C at the end, if you need to be precise. Anyway, to move on, one of the Facebook groups I'm moderator of is the actual Imbolc and Bridget's Day traditions. And this year, the group page has really been busy. It's been fantastic. It's been flooded with beautiful photos of members' creations and the creations of what they've done for Imbolc. As I was saying, even this year, there's signs that the Bridget's Day is and the Imbolc is going beyond the people around the table making the crosses and the dolls and then the praising of them on their altars. People are decorating their homes and they're cooking special meals. And it's becoming sort of in line with the holidays as well, in the gardens as well. So I hope it doesn't go plasticky like Christmas and Halloween. That would be awful. I hope people do keep to the spirit of making things from nature that's accessible this time. Anyway, the Imbolc group's been such a joy to follow this year. And there's not been one junky post. There's no junky advertisement. There's nobody trying to attempt to put poem posts or political posts and the usual tiresome stuff that enters into groups. No negativity, no abuse. Absolutely been uplifting the whole group. And thanks for the contributors for keeping it that way and bringing your photos and videos of what you're doing for Bridget's Day and Imbolc. It's been a real sheer joy, that group this year. So I'm actually going to share some of them with you. Anyway, where is he? I was going to say before doing that, I was saying let's get our next guest on, who's Cathal. He seems to have gone away for a minute. Is Cathal there? No, there he is. Hi, Cathal. Let's get you onto the stream. Hello, good to see you again.
Yeah,
I was
on my
absolutely.
end.
We got you in good form there. We have, I think,
Yeah,
because Cathal sent me what he was going to talk about, a lovely short Imbolc poem in both the Irish and the English. So tell us about it, Cathal, that you're sharing. It's absolutely delightful and very fitting for now.
yeah. I've added a couple of more lines than the one I sent you, but no, it's well, Imbolc is a very special time of year, particularly in the Celtic calendar. So I think it's only right we should celebrate it. It's one of the 4 major celebration or festivals within the Celtic world, and it's always been of interest to me because it is a renewal, isn't it? It's a new beginning. It's the world is becoming awake again after the winter gloom or after darkness of winter. So yes, I knew you were doing this show here today, John. I know you're planning to do more of a similar vein. So I just thought I'd give you this quick little poem on Imbolc, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it in some way captures the whole spirit of it. So here we go. I'll give this to you now. Are you okay, John? Recite it now.
Yeah, it's great. Just fire ahead. I'm just listening here.
Yep, I'll fire ahead. It's called Imbolc. I'll read it first in Gaelic and then I'll give you the English translation of it. Imbolc. Selitor banya. Os an cúra cúru. Gentor Indian lacted bow. Gentor kosh. Blosters cúra. Dirton Uachtar amach go mal the shop sa cruisking Peter. Vector rienter an van J bow a geri. Haar talov is iske. Haar sruhan is lintje. A glunru la solus na grania. The street cree on Forisha. A neuter sail. The Dusonari. Berta Uan Agus. A neuter dulra. In Mulga on Dawn. In Mulga on Dawn. And that's really where the phrase, as you rightly said, Imbolc comes from, John, in Mullock, in the belly. The English of it, Imbolc. Milk is strained. Out of the foaming foam, butter is made from cow's milk. Cheese is made, delicious and fragrant. Cream pours out slowly into a pewter jug. Traces of the cow goddess are seen, rising over land and water, over streams and pools, shining with sunlight within the heart of the forest. Life is renewed. At the beginning of spring, lambs are born, and nature is renewed in the belly of the earth. That's it, John. Back to you, my friend.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. And as I say, that is a fantastic lead into what these examples from the Imbolc group on Facebook. Thanks, Cathal, and I look forward to when we get you back again, even though it's always very brief.
No problem, my friend. John, I may say my apologies to everybody. I may have to leave a bit early today before 3 o'clock. So my apologies to everybody, and thank you for listening.
And thank you for being on. Thank you so much, Cathal. Very good. So, that's a great introduction because I'm going to show a few postings from the Imbolc and Bridget's Day group. So, who we got? There was Becky Lewis Pennycook, who she said it was her first ever Bridget. I'm trying to get to the picture. She says her first breeder celebration. So I'm going to try and get to back to my photo collection. And so this is what Becky Louise was showing that she's done. This is around her house, first ever celebration. So that's hers. And I love that. Oh, bring that back. The doll on the, whatever the crow is or whatever she's got there. Fabulous. And then there's Joanna Gale, who's done a lovely altar, and she put a photograph up of that. And Connor Brown, he's got who we had on. There he is with the Kerry crosses there and some wee straw hat helmets from Biddy's Day. And we have Sarah Meredith, I love this. The Biddy's doll here amongst the snowdrops. That's one of the photographs. And this Laird Stephen Laird Stephen Wingo. This is him celebrating Bridget's Day out in the Alaskan snow. Virginia Henwood, she's just moved into a new home. And look at that. Look at that. She's done a table. Come on. She's done a table of feasting there. And that's what I think is going to happen. There's going to be a lot more of this. It's just going to explode out over the next few years. Do I have any more? I do have. There was one beautiful one. It seems to have got missed out. Sorry. There was one. She had beautiful crafts. No. So anyway, go to the. There was a couple I wanted to feature that haven't. There's one there. There was Angela Costume. That was a lovely one of her art. That was very popular. Anyway, on Facebook, look for the Imbolc and Bridget group, traditionalist group, and you'll see a lot more. That's just a sort of taster. And anyway, let's see. Catch up on what you're saying. Cliff, lovely recital by Cathal. Thanks for the translation. And Claire, Cathal is such a gift. Such musical words. Wasn't that beautiful? It was. And the way he recited it was just so spot on. Thanks, Cathal. Cliff Carr, thank you, Penny. And now let's see what else. Who else we got? There's a few more comments to catch up. You're commenting very well. And Cathal here, thank you for listening to me, everyone. Apologies for having to leave early soon. I'm glad we got you on in time. He says I look better and rested. If you knew what went on to put the show on today, that's a miracle. So thanks very much for the compliment. It was a real, I shouldn't say pain in the ass, but it was tough going to put the show up today. I tell you, there was all sorts happening, but I'm glad it looks relaxed and on the go. So I shouldn't have said all that. Oh yeah, it's just easy. I could do it with my eyes closed. So thank you very much for that, Cathal. And then there was Penny Stevenson, fantastic Cliff, very uplifting. And Claire must have said something here. Where is it, Claire? Such joyous music. And Cliff says, yes, I know about the be involved when playing live. Yeah, I wasn't sorry. I sounded rude in Cliff, as if I was sort of criticizing you. It just reminded me that I've been saying Imbolc during this show, and Imbolc is the way I should be talking about it. Well, just in case the grammar police are out there, you know how it is. Thank you, Claire. He says there. So thank you, Cliff. Who have I not? My comments as well. Boy, I've been really hanging Cliff out, haven't I? David William Paul Weller, many thanks, Jonathan, for enjoying and playing me music. Absolute pleasure, and I know there's more coming up because we've got this lovely Orm song from you that we'll have in the tree season, which is I'm looking forward to featuring that. I'm not getting any scrolling going on here, so excuse me for a moment. There we go. Thank you, Connor. Lovely sense of anticipation your words conjure up, and the illustrations are beautiful. Okay, the scrolling has started up again, so I can look at your comments again. A habit that affects us all, lost in translation. And even Sherry's saying I'm looking well today, so I'm glad. What have I done? As the StreamYard put sort of face improve. They said they were going to bring a face improver on the screen. Maybe it's there and I haven't seen it yet. It can be one of the new features that StreamYard, the platform I use, is what they're going to bring in. So maybe it's already. I'll have to check that out. I know it was imminent every week now, just like what Zoom has. I don't think so. Maybe it's genuine. Okay, what we got? Very good. Well done, Penny. By the way, you do sound like Paul Weller. Well, I suppose that's a great compliment. There we go. As I say, did you hear last time, Penny? I thought you were so Bowie-like. wait till you hear the Ohm one, and we get the Bowie feel again as well. Great performer, isn't he? It's very different for this show and what you would expect. So that's terrific. There we go. Don't worry, pronunciation, my friends. This is an English form of the word. Anyway, so that's it. Because one of the other things I say that, you know, the grammar police, I think the one thing they forget about is when you're in different places, you know, we take it for granted. We got bus services, cars, planes, and all the communities are like all of one. When you come to Ireland, you talk of all of Ireland. But before there were all these services, you would talk about the different communities all being very different. Kerry would be like another country. Donegal would be completely different to Kerry. And even when I lived on the Isle of Mull in Scotland, the north of the island, there was a big mountain, Ben More. And north of the island were regarded as a whole different culture to the south of the mountain, the south end. And so we used to have that. And even something like the word kayak. I say kayak. A lot of people say kayak. Now, if you have, even then, it was the kayak in the south of Mull. It was a kayak up in the north of Mull. So all these pronunciations, they all, even spellings get separated by these communities. So that's why you get, I think, all these variations, and that's going to continue. Anyway, it's getting late. I'm going to have to throw a lot of things out that I was going to do, and put them on to next week, because we have we can't really have an Imbolc session without having some Bee. Bee's been very patient in the background, and she does have a lovely collection stuff. Because the thing is, it seems. Oh, what was I going to say now? I was going to do a whole thing on goddesses, but I'm going to put that over to next week. And B was going to follow that, but that's not going to be, as I say, that's something for you to look forward to. And I did say I was going to talk about the goddess, because you talk about the St. Bridget and then Bhride the goddess. So we're in the goddess vibe anyway. Now, with first time, I think, with I was hearing B's poetry, it was very much kind of Bhride linked. She was very involved in the Bhride, in spirit, in goddess. And I tend to think of the seed and womb in all that B shares, really. For a while, it seemed B's work was devoted very much to this time. And through recent years, B's work has actually broadened very wonderfully, and it focuses on the whole cycles of the year now. But it's nice to come back to be in the position of Bhride and Imbolc. And she's a regular, beautiful guest, and it's so privileged to actually be in her realm of poetry. So without further ado, without me waffling much more, I'm going to bring B on. Good afternoon, B. Lovely to catch you there. As I say, when I was trying to sort of illustrate memories of your first connections with Bhride and Imbolc, and now suddenly, as we've noticed on the show, it is the birth. I mean, the whole Bhride thing's been the birth of everything you do, and you're covering the whole cycle beautifully. And now it's so fitting to bring you back to the Bhride today.
I think one of the first poems that I performed for you, John, which I think is still your favorite, is the one about Danu. Yes. Called Nemethan. And I don't know that I've ever done it on this show before, but at some point we will do. Before I do a poem, I thought I would just...
tree season coming up.
Yeah. I thought I would just speak to some of my personal traditions, the household ones. And I have been celebrating St. Bridget's Day or Imbolc since at least 1997, often in the company of others. And I now actually have set foods that people ask me to make. I've always made a seed cake because we're at the time of year when we're thinking about seed sowing, and it's poppy seed cake. And this year, and soda bread always is a feature in some sort of soup. This year, I added in buttermilk pie because buttermilk being very strongly part of any of the Bridget associations with dairy. And the other thing that I've done over the years is I do decorate my house, and I try to do at least one craft project in January. It's a bit like, pardon me, it's kind of like in the run up to Yule, you have your decorations and you make things, but I do the same thing for Bridget. And last year in lockdown, I made this little Bridget chaplet so that I can say my prayers with that. And that's very handy. Fits into your handbag or pocket really easily. And pre-pandemic, you were showing the Biddy dolls. Now, I have a slightly more deluxe version of it, but all of there's symbolism in every part of her making. And I'll just see if I can get it to camera. But there she is in her Bridget bed. She's on a bed of hay, and her skirt has yellow and white flowers, and feverfew is one of the flowers sacred to Saint Bridget, and also the goddess. There is a very tiny button holding, which is a three-legged Bridget's cross, which in Fermanagh they often use in their barns. That they don't have the four-legged one; they have the three-legged one in Fermanagh for the barns. And so, and also the basket that is her Bridget's bed was woven in Lochan House Prison. And St. Bridget is one of the patrons of prisoners. So it was a prisoner who actually made Bridget's bed. And so I like to take all of the various associations and weave a craft project over January, because I'm getting excited because Bridget's Day is coming. But for the poetry today, I've chosen two poems, given that you wanted the theme of water. And the first one is called The Language of Water. Sometimes it's as easy as mother tongue, though after a drought you can stumble with its declensions. You need to review its vocabulary. Best not to take it for granted, like the opposable thumb. Oftentimes it can stun. It can have all the mystery of the foreign. In some lonely places off the track, there are springs whose water slips like silk and softens your fingers. At others, if you pause to drink, you taste the iron or peat. Locals search for the one that is sweet, soft or hard, icy or warm, contained in cup or in stony wellhead. It can overrun. It can drown. It can cure or quench. It can be rampant as forest cataract and spate. It can be as fresh as your cheeky daughter or salty as her tears, and regularly irregular as ocean tides. So that is the language of water. And today I walked up the, I don't know, half a kilometer up the lane from me. There is a well. The townland is known as Tubber, and Tubber is the Irish for well. And we've had so much rain, although John was talking earlier about how dry the winter has been. We have had so much rain in the last night that the well is almost up to the step that goes down to it. It regularly rises and falls with with the rainfall here. Years and years ago, it was considered to be a dry well, but a local man discovered that it was on his property, and he has had it cleaned. He's had the stones repaired, and people always went to it. There are cludies on it, but it's now properly visited and looked after by local people. The next poem I'm going to do is called Bhride Well. Now, the saint is connected with justice, and in England there are any number of law courts and police stations in Leeds, in London, and there's another city I can't think of the name of at the moment, and they're known as Bridewell. And this, of course, goes back to the sacred wells of Bridget, who was the giver of justice. If you cannot forge something new from forgiveness, you stand there hovering on the rim of what if and what is, and what is yet to be. The wise woman Bhride holds court at the well, where the deep, dark down below is the source, bubbling up, breaking the surface, rippling out, catching light and shining. Stare down deep. Drink that holy water. Be healed, not judged, she says. Thank you. And I'll end with a poem which was actually about St. Bridget's cloak, which is not strictly water, but it's one that I always like to give as a gift to people. Bridget's mantle. Lay me down upon your cloak, swaddle me, sing to me your secrets of always enough. Lay me down upon your cloak, wrap me snug, tell me a story, the miracle of always enough. Lay me down upon your cloak, rock me gently now, lay me down in the source of always enough. So,
Oh, wow. What a beautiful collection as usual, but that was very special. Thank you, Bee, for that. And
thank you,
definitely
John.
looking forward to you coming back. We're in the tree season with my favorite poem, at least that anyway. So that'll definitely be the next invitation. Thanks again. Tina Rock came on and just up the road from you. Lovely Barbara from that.
Yep.
Absolutely fabulous.
Tina would know,
thank you.
We'll see you again. Well.
Yes, and we got Tony next week. Bee's husband is on next week, so something else to look forward to. So, thanks, Bee. Such a delight, and have a wonderful Imbolc and spring. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Always a pleasure to have Bee there. And of course, I'm going on the overtime. Penny saying how thought-provoking that is. Well, I'm trying to get the message up there. Lovely poem, says Cliff Carr. And Penny, thought-provoking. So often just take water for granted. Turn on the tap, out it comes. Now, that's the one thing, certainly. This is the whole point with the wells, is the gratitude and of having that. Because that was up until... when we first came, when I first came to Caish 17 years ago, the group water system was only coming in, so the wells were where we got the water, and I've lived in places where we've had to get it from the water, and I know through the US, even when I lived in Florida, I had to use a well. B, your words inspire such a sense of possibility in looking at what is with new eyes. That's a great sum up of Bee's poetry. Fabulous. Thanks for saying that, Anne. Thank you. And Cliff's really enjoying himself with Bee's poetry down here. Lovely poems and information. And Sherry, of course, is always a great fan of bees there. Thank you so much. Words and magic. Running the overtime as usual. We've got one more guest, and I've actually got to line up this guest because oh goodness me, it's funny. I'm supposed to light it up, and I just pressed this button, and I see all these new features of things that I can do in the future through StreamYard. They got all these extra things. Oh goodness me. Anyway, I'll read that later and get this up because Mel's wasn't. I couldn't. It was too big a file to put into the cloud, as I usually do with the other stuff. But it's not a long poem. I don't know what it was. Anyway, but Male Bridget, she lives in Vancouver, Canada. And the story is that we couldn't get her live, but she left the Orthodox Church when she was young and became an atheist for a while. And then she went through a calling towards women's spirituality. She started looking into Wicca and then was drawn into paganism in general. And then through the early 80s, she had a calling to connect with just one goddess. And that goddess was Bhride. And she looked into the spellings, and she actually adopted the spelling of Bridget, Brigit. And so during 1993, Mel then, after getting so involved and connected with her interpretation of Bridget, she grouped with some other women friends, and they called themselves the Daughters of the Flame. And to this day, they kept a stream of flames going, either through candles, lanterns, and hearth fires. So they've always got what they regard as a sacred flame growing in some form. And we moved to 2004, started Male's blog, which is Bridget's Sparkling Flame. I'll have to put the links to this after the show in the comments. Then 2015 was the launch of Male's Stone on the Belly poetry blog. It featured 4 years of people writing during the recovery of cancer. So this has been a day of guests who are recovering from cancer, isn't it? So from 2016, she started hosting courses on Bridget and on to presentations at conferences. And out of this came a book from Male. If I can get some pictures up of her book, I've got it here. This is her book here. Well, I'm disappearing off of the show altogether. Anyway, there's the book. Bridget of Ireland, Devotional, Sun Among the Stars. And that's the cover of her book. So here is Male. I'm going to share a couple of minutes of her from this tale. And so let's get the video up now. It might take me a second because I hadn't prepared it in advance, but here comes Male Bridge now. We should get this going if I can hide the book. No, there it is. We should have some luck with it now. Here we go.
At that time in Ireland, we didn't know then what would come, only what was, and it was good. It was wide and prosperous with deer and hare, vole-filled plains, even fine young calves left sometimes exposed, away from the cloth-bound ones, the ones with cudgels and spears. We were many, joyous, families sprawled across loch-marked land, and we in every cranny, some even tasting the splendor of the sea. Later the place itself would change, cloth-bound ones change, and we would be hunted to our last hard death. Skins of our people sent across the waves. Our hearts were wholly stopped. We dreamed and howled no more among the night-dark hills and hollows. People came to ask, were there ever wolves in Ireland? There were, and I was there, running with a pack more than 20 strong, 20 rich, uncles, aunts, and ungrown ones, our chiefs and all their children guiding us in denning, guiding us in hunts, joining us in play. I was there, and those were blissful days. There was a woman then, far from us, but wolves have speech. We knew of her, heard her works, heard her plans, heard of the wolf she gentled, the dogs she fed, the harried boar she welcomed to her fold. So when the word went out of her intention to send men on a walk of many days to retrieve for her a gift of many pigs, we stepped out from the woodlands, skimmed up from the plains, circled down around the pigman's hold and drew his beasts as one. Lean-meated, narrow-trunked, long-legged, rough-bristled creatures, we gathered them with pleasure, carefully. A pack knows best the art of driving, those who wish not be driven so. And so we did. A surging, moving, snorting mass of sweet-hooved life, tight tails twisting protests, high voices squealing wrongs. None stood in our way, for we eschewed the tracks and roadways, led the swine through the home of trees, down stripling, wriggling streams that muddied at their step, we in silence flanking in the brush, until we met her party of men where the river finds the road. The pigman knew them to be his own, his hale and hefty black-bodied brood, and gave them to her people. And when they turned to Leinster, sticks and calls and eager slapping hands, we withdrew away, the wild wolves who herded Bridget's pigs.
Thanks very much. Thanks. And that was Mail there. And Mail's book, The Sun Amongst the Stars, is available from the Bridget of Ireland devotion. It's available from just about anywhere where you order a book, either in a bookshop or online. The publisher is Moon Books, who's part of John Hunt Publishing, and they're based in Hampshire, UK. So worldwide distribution there. And let's see on the latest there, Sherry Murphy. No comment. There we go. The reading was amazing. Thank you very much. And Davina, beautiful stories. Thank you for doing that. And what a happy surprise to see B, says Terry Slack, which is great for that. And so wonderful. Yes, always a lovely treat. Now, as I say, we're going well over time. So I think I'll tell you what's coming up in next couple of weeks. Well, the next 2 weeks, parts 3 and 4, they're actually going to be a two-part of the She, and going to explore all kinds of folklore and presences, from the images we associate with fairies to the unseen presences that provide for us a kind of a balancing, I think you would say, a balancing with nature especially. Also, there were some guests that weren't on today, didn't have time for, that are going to be on next week. We're going to have Tony Cookson, I know, for one. There's a few others wonderful that have not been before, and I've got the content. It's brilliant. I put forward a couple of things, foraging. I'll cover that next week as well. Also, we'll go from goddesses and the links to the She as well. And as I say, we've got 2 weeks of this for a very good reason, to Sunday. So the 20th of February will be part 2 of what we don't cover in part 1 next week. And then on 27th of February, it's going to be the start of a 5 Sunday of tree season. And that's going to kick off with the Orm symbol language through the trees. So we'll have Cliff back to open us up for that, maybe. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to present this. And thanks again for our amazing guests, Connor Brown, Cliff Carr, Grace Wells, Neil Bridge, Cathal Matrinan, B. Smith. Absolutely wonderful variety. Thank you all for watching this. And a lot of you will be watching this after the broadcast this evening and through the week. Wonderful, the support on that with the viewings. I keep checking and keep commenting, and I do return from time to time to answer the comments. Someone said, oh, I missed it. I didn't hear about it. There is the bell there. You can click the bell to let you know. I've been a bit slow on the newsletter for the people who rely on that, so sorry about that. But meanwhile, there's no other comments, I don't think. So it's up to me to thank you all for being with us. It's been a pleasure doing this show for you, with you, and enjoy a safe week, full of all that wonder, inspirations, enchantment, and your blessings into the new spring. So until next Sunday, play well. And that's all I've got from myself. I think we got one more comment that's flown in. And Cliff, looking forward to it. Blessings to you and all. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you for everyone. And Glenda, who's on next week, thanks for the last 2 posts. And another special program. And John Smith's coming in saying something nice here that I missed him. Your channel is good stuff. And thank you, Anne, as well, for the support. It's beautiful reading poetry. And John Smith also said, yo. Somewhere I didn't get the yo up. There we go. There's his yo. John Smith's yo. So thanks very much. I think I've catched you all. Brilliant. And let's see, I think the yo is the last comment. So thanks to all of you. I'll see you next week. Bye.